So there's been rumors circulating that Starbucks is interested in partnering with Sodastream. And so I thought I'd sit down and address this with my Beverages team. If you guys don't mind, why would Starbucks be interested in investing in Sodastream?
So I think there are mainly two big reasons why there are good synergies between the companies. One of them has to do with geography. SodaStream already have a pretty strong business in Europe. They have over $100 million in syrup sales alone in European markets, and a strong presence in France, Germany, Sweden, and of course Israel, where the company is based. I think Starbucks have a much more large presence in the US, which is a market that SodaStream need to grow in. And so I think there's an overlap there that could benefit both companies. The second reason is that SodaStream are realizing, after in the wake of the GMCR Coca-Cola deal for their at-home soft drink system, that they're going to need more brand power in order to make the system a more mainstream success. Starbucks already have a trial brand of handcrafted sodas called Physio, which they've trialed in Atlanta and Austin recently. So they're very interested in getting into the soda space, but the at-home soda space now with SodaStream. So I think there's some overlap between the companies that might make this a good decision should it go through.
So what sort of products could we see from this pairing? I mean, how advantageous is this given the carbonate decline?
Well, when you consider, the carbonate decline in the U.S., that's not really the products that Starbucks will be focusing on, even though there's a subset of carbonates that could be coming out from their Vizio line. The idea behind these at-home soft drink makers, or the focus at least, should be on the diversity that they're providing, the different amounts of products that people are going to be able to consume at home. With sodas declining, it's not necessarily out of the thing of people aren't drinking sodas at all, just not necessarily as much. And with this system and with the drinks that Starbucks can create, there'll be a lot of new products coming forward with, whether it be their refreshers line or even something like a Tazo shaken iced tea that can also be served carbonated or stilled using the new machine. And those are the types of drinks that are actually becoming more and more popular amongst American consumers rather than sodas. So the move's not really about getting into soda per se, but to get into this whole at-home refreshment.
How does this benefit SodaStream?
Well, I think the Coca-Cola GMCR partnership that we mentioned really has the potential to set consumer expectations when that hits the market, just because of the size and the scale of the two companies. And then Pepsi's tie-in with the Bevyz drink system also is going to be quite significant. So I think SodaStream really needed a large strategic partner that had, number one, deep pockets in order to stay competitive, but also those big familiar brands that I mentioned.
You consider the amount of Starbucks there are, across the U.S. and even across the world. This gives SodaStream another point of sale. Like we've seen with Starbucks selling their own, View machines or their own machines in the past. This potential partnership really lends itself to SodaStream being able to be sold in those outlets as well.
So what risks are there?
Well, for one, Starbucks entering this is all of a sudden just another competitor to create. So if that happens to, if SodaStream happens to lose out to those other companies, then Starbucks would be out their investment. The other part of it too is that there's not really as much of a ceiling for Starbucks as there is for Coca-Cola. With Coca-Cola's 10% stake with Green Mountain, they're at least getting a part of that coffee business. So even if the machines don't work, they'll still be making money from what GMCR is bringing into the lucrative pod business. That said, the risk isn't really that high, considering that the stock price for SodaStream is less than what Green Mountain's been going for.
All right. Well, thanks you guys so much for sharing your insights. We'll have to keep our eyes peeled on what's to come.